Tawny was sure she was existing in some sort of dream world, and at some point her hopes and all this exquisite love she was feeling would implode and she'd be blown to smithereens. She and Carson had lunch at a cozy restaurant and spent the day knocking around Greenwich Village, checking out cool shops and people watching. He'd wanted to know all about her breakfast with the girls, and was happy it had gone well. He was so attentive and genuinely interested, it made her even more excited about their decision to try to figure out a way to make a long-distance relationship work. She must have asked him 100 times if he was sure he'd want to spend the majority of his time in Paris, and he hadn't hesitated when answering, "If you're in Paris, I'm in Paris." She was excited and nervous about their plans, but she'd been searching for so long, and she finally felt like she was heading in the right direction. "Ready for your surprise?" Carson asked when they turned a corner. He patted her ass and pointed to a comic book store. Tawny gasped. "Oh my gosh! I haven't been to a comic book store since college." "Remember that comic shop near school?" he asked. "The one where the girl hit on you every time we went in?" she asked, remembering how much she'd hated the feeling of watching the salesgirl check him out. "She did not." Tawny rolled her eyes. "Even you were not that oblivious." As they climbed the steps to the shop, he said, "We found that place a few weeks after you and I started sleeping together. Do you really believe I was thinking about some nobody behind a counter instead of the sexy, beautiful woman who was in my bed on a weekly basis?" She stopped on the top step, with Carson one step below, bringing her closer to his height. "How did I miss so much back then?" "I think it has something to do with all the amazing sex we were having. You couldn't think straight. Isn't that what you told me?" He kissed her, and the door to the shop swung open. His arms circled her waist, and he tugged her against him, allowing two people dressed in Star Trek costumes to walk past. They walked inside, and a line of people went around the far wall, leading to a door at the back of the shop, out of which 3 more people dressed in costumes appeared. The store smelled like musty books and latex, not an appealing combination. She stepped closer to Carson and buried her nose in his jacket. Much better. "The line for costumes is against that wall," the bearded guy behind the counter said. "Costumes for?" Carson asked. The guy handed him a flyer, and Tawny quickly scanned the announcement. "There's a science fiction festival at a hotel nearby. Did you know about this, Carson?" "No, I just wanted to take you to a comic book store like old times." Her eyes lit up. "We have to go. Look, they're showing the movie Serenity tonight." "Sure, but I'm not dressing up in a costume." "Dude, read the flyer again." The guy behind the counter shook his head. "No costume, no entry." Tawny beamed at Carson, who looked like he was being asked to swallow a worm. "Please?" She bounced on her toes and went for sultry, caressing his cheek. "You'd look hot in a costume, any costume." He laughed. "Tabs, we can watch Serenity at my place." He leaned down and whispered, "Naked." "As enticing as that sounds, I've always wanted to go to Comic-Con, and I was always too shy. This is smaller and right here. Look, it says they're hosting new comic book designers, having a costume contest, and selling all sorts of sci-fi paraphernalia." His expression didn't change. She didn't often try to use her feminine wiles to get her way, but how could she resist a science fiction festival in costume? She stepped in so close she could see each whisker on his chin. "I guess we found something you won't do for me." "Oh, man," the guy behind the counter uttered. Carson cocked his head to the side, his gaze softening. "Tabs?" His phone vibrated with a call, and he pulled it from his pocket. "Baby, I've got to take this. I'm sorry. Look around at the comics. I'll just be a few minutes." He had gotten several phone calls already. She worried she was keeping him from something important, but he'd assured her earlier that it was nothing he couldn't handle by phone. "Okay, I'll get in line."